Then third category of chopper, that is known as two quadrant type A chopper or type C chopper. The chopper operates both types, that is like type A chopper and type B choppers, or sometimes operates in step down mode and sometimes operates in step up modes, hence known as type A chopper or two quadrant type A chopper. So there are two different figures are drawn here, that is figure 1 shows the circuit diagram of two quadrant type A chopper or type C chopper. So figure 1, figure A shows the circuit diagram. In that case, a pair of choppers connected across the circuit, that is CH1 and CH2, and a pair of diodes D2 and FD connected across the circuit. So both the chopper and diodes form a bridge circuit, and then the load is comprises of an inductor L in series with EMF sources is connected across the output of the circuit treated as a load. Vs I are the source voltage, source current, V0 I0 are the load voltage, load current respectively. But CH1 and D2 are connected in anti-parallel with each other. CS2 and FD are connected in anti-parallel with each other. So then figure 2 show the two quadrant operation or quadrant diagram of type C chopper. In that case, both the pair of the devices operates in some one pair, that is CH1 FD operates in first quadrant and CS2 D2 conduct in second quadrant. Then come to the operation. Let us assuming that initially the switch CH1 chopper which will be closed. Whenever CH1 is closed, then the path of the current will be Vs, then CH1, then LE, then return back your source voltage Vs. So this CH1 on period, the path of the current we can write Vs, CH1, LE, then return back source voltage Vs. So during this condition, the current flows from source to the load. Obviously the source voltage which will be more than the load voltage, so that the chopper is said to be operates in step down mode. Whenever the chopper CH is off in the same first quadrant, then the stored energy across the inductor L which will be now circulate through the preload FD in this way. Whenever the entire amount of the stored energy which will be 0, then immediately this chopper CS2 which will be closed. Whenever chopper CS2 is on, then the path of the current will be like this: L, E, then CS2 in this way. The load current now circulate through in this way. That is E, L, then CS2, then E, then L, then CS2, then E, then L. In this way, the path of the current will be like this. And whenever after the instant, whenever CS2 which will be closed, then immediately diode D2 which will be start conducting. With the path of the current now E, L, D2, return back your source voltage Vs. The path of the current we can write E hyphen L hyphen D2 hyphen Vs, then return back your E. So in this way the current will be start circulating by following a particular path E, L, D2, Vs, then E. In which way the current start flows from this load to the source. So from this expression we can write that the type C chopper in that case, that is operates like a type B, that is a step up mode, that is current flows from source to the load, or the voltage across the load which will be more than the source voltage. In that case you can see the chopper set to be operated step up mode, or that is nothing but your type B chopper. As both type A and type B are operates in this type of chopper, hence this chopper is called as a two quadrant type A chopper. Like type A chopper, that is first quadrant, one chopper and one diode start conducting, that is CH1 FD. In that case both V0 I0 are positive. And secondly, in the second quadrant, see that here chopper CS2 and D2 which will be start conducting. In that case the load voltage V0 will be positive and load current I0 which will be negative. That's why the CS2 D2 are operates in second quadrant operation. In that case the current start from load to the source. But in first quadrant the current flows from source to the load. In the second quadrant the load voltage which will be more than the source voltage. In first quadrant the source voltage which will be more than the load voltage. So this one shows the quadrant diagram of type C chopper. Both the switches never switch on simultaneously, as it will lead direct short circuit of the supply. Now switch CS2 is closed or FD is on, the output voltage V0 is equal to 0. When switch 2 or chopper CS2 is closed or fueling that FD is on, in that case the output voltage V0 should be 0. When CH1 or switch 1 or CH1 is on or diode D conducts, then output voltage V0 is equal to plus Vs. The current analysis: when switch 1 is on, the current flows along I0. When CH1 is off, the current continues to flow along I0 as FD is forward biased, so I0 is positive. When CS2 is on, the current direction will be opposite to the load current I0. When switch 2 or CS2 is off, D2 turn on, the load current is minus I0. So the average load voltage is always positive. Average load current may positive or negative. Then come to the fourth category of the chopper, known as your type T chopper. This chopper is also known as a two-quadrant of type B chopper. Two-quadrant type B choppers or type D choppers. Here there are several diagrams are drawn here. 4 different diagrams are drawn here. That is figure A. So the circuit diagram of type D chopper, and figure B shows the quadrant diagram of type D chopper, and figure C shows the V0, the timing diagram of load voltage V0 whenever T on is more than the T off, and figure D shows the V0 is negative. In that case, the on time is less than the off time. So this one shows the different circuit diagrams, the quadrant diagram, and different voltage V0 output voltage, load voltage V0 diagrams in two different ways. In one way, on time more than off time. In second way, the on time less than the off times. So that come to the figure A. The figure A shows the circuit diagram of type D chopper. It consists of one pair of chopper and one pair of diodes. The choppers are CH1 and CS2 are arranged in a kernel manner, and diode D1 and D2 are also arranged in another kernel manner. But these 4 number of devices, that is chopper CH1, CS2 and diode D1 and D2, form a bridge circuit. But the connection is in such a manner that the chopper CH1 is connected just anti-parallel to the diode D2, and the chopper CS2 is connected just anti-parallel with the diode D1. And the load is connected across the midpoint of the two arms of the bridge circuit. Then Vs and V0, I0 are the source voltage, source current, load voltage, load current respectively. Then second figure shows the two quadrant type B chopper. In that case, that total operations shown in first quadrant and fourth quadrant. In first quadrant, both V0 and I0 will be positive, and this one shows the operation of CH1 and CS2. And then come to the fourth quadrant, in which I0 will be positive and V0 will be negative. In that case, two diodes are start conducting, that is D1 and D2, marked in fourth quadrant of the VI characteristic curve. Whenever chopper operation come to the operation of the chopper, whenever chopper CH1 and CS2 are closed, the path of the current will be Vs, CH1 load, then CS2 again return back to your source voltage Vs. In that case, the current flows from source to the load, so Vs is more than Vs, and the average load voltage will be positive, and T on is greater than the T off. In that case, on time is more than the off time. In that case, whenever the CH1 and CS2 are off, immediately load current reverses and flows converted. The entire load of the chopper CH1 and CS2 can transfer into the diode pair D1 and D2. In that case, the path of the current will be like this, that is load, then D2, then Vs, then D1. In this way, the current will circulate through the two number of diodes, that is Vs, D1, load, D2, Vs. Vs, D1, load, D2, again Vs. In this way, the current will be changes its polarity from time to time, or transfer the load from one pair of the device into another pair. When CH1 and CS2 are of D1 and D2 are on V0 is equal to minus Vs. The direction of the current is always positive because chopper and diodes can only conduct in the direction of arrows shown here.